Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat. Before I begin, I just want to present to you my dream in 60 seconds. Now, my dream, which I hope will be your dream too, and which I hope will change your lives for the better. Just watch this video. Maybe it's a good way of starting the afternoon to keep you from sleeping, because our country has been asleep for the longest time. Are you all awake?
Yes.
You don't have to be in deep slumber to dream. Gusto ko yung pag nanaginip kayo, gisingin yung mga mata. Baka kasi guni-guni lang yan. And I'm sharing this short video to show graphically the greatness of the Filipino spirit called Bayanihan. That together we can end poverty. And coming into the session this morning, I was a bit disturbed due to the pressure of how to work out the day. Because the person who taught me how to dream died 2 days ago. My mother died, and she's now waiting for me in Bacolod, which is about 4 or 5 hours drive from here. And it was a bit of a dilemma coming here, kung pupuntahan ko muna sa Bacolod o kaya dumaan dito, because for one thing, ang pangarap na ito ay matutupad hindi sa panahon ng nanay ko, who's 99 years old, no? But kundi sa panahon ng mga kabataang katulad ninyo, who have your entire future ahead of you. And so I thought that I live for the living. And it's also biblical that, you know, if you want to be a disciple, if you want to pursue your cause, you know, don't say that, you know, wait first because I have to bury my dead mother. So, and it is not to dishonor her, but basically to really make this my priority is a way also of honoring her, because throughout her life, she knew the value of dreams. She knew the value of sacrifice to build dreams. And so she learned how to die to self many times to raise me, coming from a poor background. She was a public school teacher, and she married my father, who was also a public school teacher. And they did not own land. So throughout their life, they were just living with family. They did not own their own home. And in a very aristocratic environment like Bacolod, they also did not own a car. And I grew up, you know, always dreaming that there was a better life, because I lived near a squatters area in Bacolod. And I would always climb rooftops. I didn't know. Maybe the psychology, those who took up psychology will understand, will try to explain was as a young person, I used to climb rooftops, I used to climb trees. Kaya at the age of 12, I fell down from a mango tree, and I lost my left eye. And so bulag ako pasalamata, mahirap ka na, nag-aral ka sa public school, bulag ka pa, tapos duling pa. So parang magti-teenager ka, lahat na lang ng malas ata dumating sa buhay mo. But it did not stop me from dreaming. And so I realized that my spirit was something that no one can steal from me. So I tried to correct my eyesight every morning. I would look at the mirror and train my lazy left eye to move with my right eye. So by the time I was about to end high school, hindi na ako duling. Bulag pa rin. No, pero it's also interesting, I talk about vision for somebody who only has one eye. No. And I realized education was my way out. And I was able to get a scholarship to the United States as an American Field Service scholar. And when I got to the US, I tried to reinvent myself. So I ate a lot of food para yung unmalnourished na katawan na isang taga-public school ay mapuno. Tapos the guy who could never go to the private schools of the elite in Negros, yung mga taga-Lasal, I learned to speak English, nawala yung aking Ilonggo accent. So, and then I came back after 1 year to Ateneo where I got a scholarship. I never told them I came from a public school, that I was a squatter. Kasi hindi naman ako papansinin ng mga assumptionista kung alam nila taga-public school ka. It's a lot of creativity just to reinvent myself because I wanted to start on an even playing field. Dito sa bansa natin kasi matapobre ang mentality. You needed a pedigree. So sa Negros, kailangan asindero ka. No? So I didn't have the pedigree. I came from a public school. I got through Ateneo. I got a degree. I worked for a multinational company for 6 years with Procter & Gamble, and I married a woman who came from a rich family. So, yung mga anak ko may degree na, may pedigree pa. So, no, that's coming from a very, kasi the source of our poverty is, for me, poverty is behavioral and with economic consequences. So, and it's basically our mentality that we are second class. Our soul was stolen from us after 350 years of almost Pavlovian conditioning. And to me, I find it very surprising that the more educated we are, the more colonial our mentality is. No, kaya puro imported ang binibili. Because something from the Philippines is never good enough. And oftentimes I realized I was never good enough. My background was never good enough because our society always judges us according to our pedigree, according to how much we earned, how much land we owned. And so I realized that, despite the breaks, despite the opportunities I had, I still had to struggle. No, and how about majority of our people, who were weak and powerless? Because I realized as I went through my own journey, trying to study hard, get the best job from the top multinational company. I worked with Procter & Gamble for 6 years, and then became an entrepreneur, married the right wife. It was all the formula for success. But at the age of 35, I had a midlife crisis. I got everything I wanted, but I was not happy. I was holding an empty bag. And it was simply because I realized that as I also tried to just accumulate for myself, it just made the country poorer. And we were, precisely the same society that made me miserable was being perpetuated by that path. Study hard, work hard, become successful, give to charity. That was precisely the formula that perpetuated poverty. So we perpetuated an exclusionary culture Yung galing sa public school, pag yumaman na, magpaaral na ng anak, hindi na pwede yung eskwela, kailangan Ateneo Lasal o Assumption, no? Live in an exclusive subdivision. So it was an exclusionary and a very extractive culture. And because unless we understand, the source of our poverty, no, we will never find solutions for it. And to me, that was my own dilemma. I went to the best schools, but they did not teach me to have vision. They taught me to have ambition. Now, an ambition was a drive for success for self, to accumulate wealth for family. So it was really just to be able to use my intelligence, to use all the privileges, opportunities, the wealth that I created, so that I can isolate myself from the suffering of majority of my people. Because the graduates of the top universities were the ones who accumulated wealth and power in this country, made all the major decisions, but their problem was they were disconnected from majority of our people who had to suffer from their decisions. Tama, hindi? So ngayon, if we are going to talk about dreams, pag-usapan natin, hindi lang yung personal na pangarap natin. We have to dream for our country. We have to dream for the poor who have lost their capacity to dream. We have to dream for the next generation. Now, because we have the experience, we have a history behind us, and we can build a country that is much better than what you will receive from us. Yung team ko po ngayon sa bagong phase ng Gawad Kalinga, I was amazed this morning. A number of people had pictures taken, and I could recognize some of them. I just want to show of hands. Sino na ba sa inyo ang nakapag-volunteer sa Gawad Kalinga or have seen a Gawad Kalinga community? So I see here more than 50%. So pati ngayon ng STP program, I found out that 70% of students in the interview that their most memorable experience was the service in building sustainable communities with us. So I saw people from Tuguegarao, from Cabanatuan, from Iloilo, from Davao, from Leyte. So what was affirming for me, was the power of a dream. Now the dream that is owned not just by one person, but it is the collective dream. And what can be more transcendent than dreaming for our country? Kasi wala akong kapangyarihan. I didn't have the power bestowed by government. I did not have great wealth coming from the multi-billionaire taipans. I realized that I had the power to dream and to connect my dreams with my people. As long as I have a dream that resonates with the heart of everyone. The dream has to transcend rivalries, partisanship, parochialism. The dream has to be inclusive. The dream has for the common good beyond my own self-interest, beyond patronage politics. And so I thought, throughout my life, nobody, none of our leaders ever, or none of my professors, none of my deans, none of the brightest and the best people ever said to me, I dream that we can end poverty in our country together. No one. And so, if no one has done it, I thought somebody has to be crazy enough like me to do it. So in 2003, I gathered about 100,000 people at the fort, and I brought Tita Cory and the heads of different corporations. I told them, together we can end poverty by 2024. 21 years, 777. 7 years to work for social justice, create a platform for good citizenship, a platform for productivity. 7 years of social artistry to design wealth creation for those at the bottom of the pyramid, for us to really create wealth that this country has never seen before. So focus on agriculture, countryside development. And the last 7 years, 2017 to 2024, is social progress, industrialization, manufacturing. But we cannot go into manufacturing and into industrialization if we neglect to develop our supply chain. We should stop importing finished products. We should stop, sending our cacao beans to Switzerland and import Swiss chocolates and Belgian cheese and Godiva chocolates at exorbitant prices. We should end this stupidity. It's this. We import 99% of our dairy products. Tapos kasama doon, 41% from New Zealand, 19% from Australia, even 4% from Singapore. Singapore does not have land, does not have natural resources. So we import 4% of dairy concentrates from Singapore because we're dumb. My generation was dumb. And no one taught me how to correct that stupidity. And that's where we don't want to pass on that stupidity to your generation. Do you want to accept it from us? Will you be the game changers in this country? Because now there's a window of hope. With the top-down was really bulok in the past. The top universities just graduated I think the most corrupt politicians. May pumapalakpak na isa. So the rest agree that we should continue to have corrupt politicians. We should put an end to our stupidity. And so it's about time for us to dream of a country that we all deserve, that we can all build together. Kaya tuwang-tuwa ako sa inyo na nandito, at least for those of you who have actually dirtied your hands, to build homes, to build schools, to volunteer in health programs for people who are not your relatives. Kasi yung mga Pilipino naman, ang sisipag, ang babait, kung kamag-anak. Di ba? So you have all these super rich people, accumulating wealth because they want to provide for 7 generations in the future. And deprived. Kaya makikita mo, they build big mansions in the most exclusive subdivision while their workers live as squatters in barong-barongs, in some of the worst slums. And yet, we accepted it. So people will go to Ateneo, will go to UP, will go to LaSalle, will go to UST, tapos magpupunta sa simbahan, magdadasal. Pero araw-araw, we see poverty. But we never practiced our Christianity. We saw poverty that every day that we no longer saw it or saw a need to do anything about it. And for many of us, education was just our way of escaping from finding solutions to the problem. And so, we always like to blame people. We blame the politicians for being corrupt. We blame the rich landowners for being greedy. Pero nung nag-umpisa ako, when we started out, no one ever gave land to the landless. But because there was a dream that also touched the heart of the landowners. But you have to show that there is value for all. Kasi dati, yung sinasabi, if you don't like the system, ibagsak mo. No? So, it was a path of frustration. It was a path of anger by really well-meaning people. Pero a path of violence is pyric. It destroys a lot of things that will be very difficult to rebuild. Pero I realized now that the path of peace is the path that connects with the good in people. So instead of ibagsak, itayo. I called it the build philosophy, that that you always connect with the good in people. Even the worst politician, he might be 90% bad. You connect with the 10% good. And so in doing the greater good, there might be some transformative effect and he will become 20 or 30% better. No, but if I connect with 1,000 politicians, then the collective good that we can do together will set the standard for service. If the politicians discover that they can also win elections without having to buy votes or to cheat, that actually building communities, transforming the lives of people, providing land for the landless, home for the homeless, that will actually win them elections. So you create shared value. But the dream had to be big, because you're going to transform the country unless you have the big dream, because then the big boys will not come in. The politicians will not pay attention to you. The big businessmen will not pay attention to you. The rich landowners will not pay attention to you. So when I articulated this dream, I already had proof of concept. We built the first Gawad Kalinga community in Bagong Silang for 43 families. It was the most, depressed area of Caloocan, where many of the inmates of the Caloocan City jails came from. And it was reported, half of the inmates in Caloocan City came from Bagong Silang. Now, yun yung relocation site of Imelda. Yung tawag niyan dati, Cubeta Village, kasi puro Cubeta lang nakatayo. Then eventually it was known as the Salvage Village, because that's where hired killers came from, and that's where they threw salvage victims. So that was the place I went to, because I thought if we can make it in Bagong Silang, we can do it anywhere, just like New York. So after building 43 homes, I noticed that the most immediate impact of restoring human dignity is peace. Because poverty dehumanizes, bestializes, and especially the men. If they're denied their dignity, they just stay at the physical level of existence. So they become predatory, they become mercenary, or they become mendicant. So standby, drug addicts, drunkards. But when you restore the self-respect of the men, because men have big egos, you have to help them regain their own self-esteem, their self-respect. And because many of the homes in the slum areas have lost the fathers in the home and the heroes in the communities. And so I decided to do social engineering by attracting the men, because most poverty interventions focus on women. Microfinance is women. Microenterprises, women. Health programs are with women. Many of the education programs are with women. But your criminals are men. The rebels are men. The most corrupt people in this country are men. The rapists are men. Wala pa, may narinig na kayong babae nang re-rape dito? Meron ba? Di ba kaya sa term sa atin, if you see yung term na babaero. So lalaki, babaero. Wala pa ako narinig na babae na tinawag na lalakero. Meron ba? That would be rare. And oftentimes a slut or a whore will be forced simply because of circumstances. Now, this is how I entered Bagong Silang. Now, I came from a Makati environment, and I was raising my family in an exclusive subdivision. But I came to realize one day, when pinasok kami ng akyat bahay, that my family will always be vulnerable. Because unless we transform the environment around us, those who are able to build through hard work a better life will always be vulnerable to those who have much less. So I decided to help transform Payatas, Bagong Silang. Now, and I found out that the hold-uppers in the Payatas, in the Fairview buses, were the Bulabog boys coming from Phase 7 of Bagong Silang. The snatchers of Quezon Avenue were the Bad Spirit Gang of Phase 8. Yung mga akyat bahay naman were the Respac boys from Phase 9. So I decided to go there. I found out that Bagong Silang was the biggest university for criminals. At specialized din, no? May college sila for akyat bahay, may college sila. Now it was an interesting study. So I started out by also engaging the community leaders. No, and how do we now reach the gang leaders, the drug addicts? How can we now connect with the people who were society's rejects, but who were also a threat to the bigger society, including my own family? So I brought a team of people from UP, from Ateneo, because they were nearby, including my 16-year-old daughter, who was a communication student at Ateneo at that time. Pagdala ko sa kanila, this was December of 1995, I think the time when Most of you were not even born yet. Di pa kayo pinanganak, no? So, kami lang siguro ni Chair, ni Doc Lilig ang pinanganak na noon, no? But we conducted a session for 127 leaders, including yung warring gangs. And my daughter was assigned to a discussion group of about 5 girls. And a number of them were prostitutes. And after the day's session, I saw my daughter crying. She said, "Papa, their lives are so miserable. I have heard the most painful stories from them." And she brought her friend along, and she said she was raped by her stepfather at the age of 13, because incest and rape is very common in slum areas. And she said she had 2 abortions, and she's just 16, my age. And she was also, member siya ng pila-pila gang. Pinipilahan siya sa sementeryo ng mga lalaking lasing. And she would earn money for drugs, for their gang. And I was looking at my daughter and I said, and the girl, and I said, she could be my daughter if she was born under different circumstances. And right there and then I said, unless I consider the children of the poor as my children, my own children will have no future in this country, or will have no honor anywhere in the world. Because as long as the Philippines remain third world, no matter how successful Filipinos are individually, we will always be seen as second class. So right there and then I realized that I should consider the poor as family, as friends, as partners in development, and I should focus on the men. They should also be part of the solution if most of them are part of the problem. And so that's how Gawad Kalinga was born. And when you restore the dignity of the men, you also lessen the troublemakers. So from liabilities, they can become assets. Because the greatest wealth of any nation is our people. And so you can actually, it says in the Bible, the stones that will be rejected will become also the cornerstones of building a community, of building a nation. And so that's what happened to us. And now I'd like to show you this video, what happened to that dream. From the first community, we launched it in 2003, it became 69 communities, now we have over 2,000 communities, and the other day we just turned over 1,700 homes in Sendong. And then on the 19th, we are going to turn over another 150 homes in Cagayan de Oro. And right now, a lot of our people are all over Mindanao, from Davao to Compostela. We were the first to arrive in Compostela because the Gawad Kalinga village in New Bataan was the only community left standing. Because we work with environmentalists like Anna. So we do the geohazard assessment. We don't build in vulnerable areas. So we need to tap on the genius of young people to really build a better future, because our generation, we're just motivated by personal interest, by greed. So not really we were not forward-looking. And we never listened to the poor. And we never tried to work with the young. We were always talking down to them. But they know, the kind of world they want to build, which is much better than what it is now. So I'd like to share with you this video kasi nangarap lang isang tao, ngayon nakinig ngayon ng gobyerno, naginig ang mga korporasyon. Yesterday, at the Enchanted Farm in Angat, Bulacan, we're building the first farm village university in Asia. Because this year I went to Europe 7 times, and I'm just catching the mood in Europe and North America. They are clueless as to where their economies are going. They've reached the level of development that anything less is not acceptable. But with their GDPs now stagnating, they see poverty increasing. Ayaw na kasi ng mga puti magtrabaho dun sa mga menial work kasi graduate na sila ng Cambridge and Oxford and the top business schools. So they want to manage. So yung mga street sweepers, they have to bring them from North Africa, the Algerians, the Tunisians, and now they're forming slums in Switzerland, they're forming slums in France, no? And then they have limited land. Just like Singapore, walang pupuntahan yan kasi napakaliit, they're just built on a rock. Pero tingnan mo, they might be prosperous now, but they're built on a rock. They have no natural resources. They have no consumer base. But there is, and we're poor. Pero tingnan mo yung prediction that by 2035, according to Bloomberg, the Philippines in economy will be bigger than Canada. And by 2050, will be the 15th biggest global economy. So that's right smack in 2 years. Kaya hindi ko alam yan. But in 2003, when I launched Gawad Kalinga to end poverty by 2024, I didn't know that. I was just dreaming. I was just hoping. But I believed in the greatness of the Filipino spirit. No, kaya I like to show you this video. Just look at young people speaking. Kasi when we build the Farm Village University, kahapon kasama ko Hyundai, they gave us 30 million to build a state-of-the-art green a center for green innovation. So that for young people to learn more about renewable energy, about water preservation, about waste management, blah, blah, blah. So, and then young people are putting up businesses, hindi na sila magpapaalipin sa mga malaking kumpanya o magpayaman ng mga mayayaman na bansa. Kasi paglubog na yun, yung mga mayayaman na bansa. Ang kayamanan nasa Pilipinas. No, pinakamayaman na lupa nandito. The future belongs to you. Look at this video.
In the first 7 years of Gawad Kalinga, since 2003, we received massive volunteerism and also overflowing generosity from business, from government, from our volunteers on the ground, from our partners here and abroad to build homes, to build schools, and to provide our programs for education, for health, for the environment. The time has come for the whole world to see that here in Gawad Kalinga we connect with the good, with the truth in people to create a greater good. So what we're seeing here now is, we're building connectivity, we're attracting convergence, and we're really creating change. So our goal now, by 2024, is to have impact and influence on about 5 million families.
We only have one country. And seryoso po kami sa pangako namin sa aming mga anak, mga apo, that we will work together to end poverty by 2024. This is the model community that we will build all over the country. Ano ba ho yung papel ng GK? Ang isa pa hong papel ng GK, dati ginagawa natin. Tanim tayo ng tanim, pero hindi natin iniisip kung saan natin ibebenta yung ating itinatanim. So, marami tayong tinatanim na pagkatapos itanim doon, anong gagawin natin sa tinanim na yun? Ang ginagawa natin, anong papel ng social entrepreneur na tinatawag? Anong papel ng mga atinista, Lasal, UPM, USC, kung saan mag-eskwelahan na kinakausap ng GK? Ang ginagawa ng mga tao ngayon ay sinusubukan natin na yung itinatanim na ginagawa ng ating mga magsasaka ay maaaring gamitin nila sa finished products o semi-processed products para maibenta nila. So yung po ang kahalagahan ng papel ng social entrepreneur.
I believe that business is in itself something very powerful. It really influences the way the world is run. And so when I learned about social business, about business with a heart, I said, hey, it's two birds with one stone. Why not? It could create bigger impact and keep me alive as well. So the next 5 years, we hope to be in different GK villages, employing more families. We also hope to have a wider network of farmers here in Bulacan and other regions of the Philippines as well.
When I encountered CSI, I found that there's a way of doing it right now instead of doing it in the future. Personally, it also helped me to see more about how to help people beyond just giving. It's also more about giving, doing it in a more sustainable way. So by giving livelihood.
We want to provide a means where visitors and guests can taste really what is grown in the Enchanted Farms. I think what's more important to note, for example, for the Enchanted Farm Cafe, is that there's always a ripple effect. Now, whenever we do marketing, for example, for the Enchanted Farm Cafe, it's correlated to more or increased
It's working out the internet. But as you can see, after building a platform for social justice, yung ginawa po ng Gawad Kalinga sa sustainable communities that we built is really create a platform for good citizenship, a platform for productivity, for bottom of the pyramid wealth creation. Kasi we have to harness the genius of the poor. But we need students like you who come from different universities with expertise in finance, in management, in engineering, in design, in agriculture. We need to create a platform we can all gather together. No, kasi ang nangyari, no, is not only our society exclusive, our culture divisive, pero we found, we realized that it's very difficult for people to work together. It's only big business that can get the student of the graduate of LaSalle to work with the graduate of Ateneo. Pero other than that, nag-aaway yan sa basketball. No? So we realized we needed to have a platform na pwede yung the best people from the top university, PUP, FEU, kasi we discovered na ang dami pa lang mga unheralded schools na mga magagaling. Kaya lang ang focus lang doon sa dalawang mga elite schools. Kasi to me, that basketball game is a perpetuation of elitism. Just to tell everyone that only these two universities count. Although sabihin mo na rivalry lang yan, parang Harvard and Yale, or Cambridge and Oxford, but that's precisely what it is. It's just about telling everyone that we're first class and you're second class. And what we need is to build an inclusive society where there's no first class, where there's no second class, where there's no third class, na for us to really see all ourselves as equal in worth and dignity. That una, nag-umpisa tayo, how did we develop this country? Education helped us produce the best doctors. Kumita sa Amerika yan. But they also decided to live there. So we lost the brightest people, tapos mga nurses natin. Then later on, our engineers. And they become migrants. Kasi when a country is poor, the people become migratory. So the educated go abroad to look for better opportunities. The poor in the countryside, they come to Manila and become squatters. So migratory. Tapos, yung naiwan dito, they become mendicant. And many others become mercenary. So the 3 M's of sustainable poverty. No? Tapos they build shanties. No, low standard. Pagkatapos yung kasi Filipinos have lowered their standards and accepted poverty. So barong-barong mentality. No? Tapos they live as squatters. So no dignity, no security. No? Kaya bahala na. No? Tapos the environment is a slum. It takes a village to raise a child. So you raise your children with drug addicts and criminals around you. Tapos the economy is subsistence. No, and the environment is survival. So the 5 S's again of sustainable poverty. No, kaya nga ang gusto ko sana lahat ng eskwelahan pag-aralan kung anong cause ng poverty. In the way that we want to teach people to be good in finance so that they can be hired by the banks, that teach people to become doctors, they can be hired by hospitals. How come we don't come together to see, how come, study why Israel is rich? They built their kibbutz. Why is China rising? Because they built their communes. Of course, we can build our communes like Gawad Kalinga without human rights abuses. So ano nangyari? We now have a big production platform of Gawad Kalinga all over the country. Kaya when Human Nature came, we already had a big distribution system. So after 3 years, Human Nature already became the market leader in natural and organic products. Si Ana pa yung cover. Kasi kailangan gamitin mo yung genius of the Filipino to create wealth in this country and not just to be a slave in his own country. Hanggang empleyado na lang ba tayo? Yan na lang bang pangarap natin? No? Kung sino magbibigay ng mataas na sweldo, yan na lang ba? Did we just put a price tag to our soul? Because it takes sacrifice to build a nation. It takes sacrifice to end poverty in this country. But you can only sacrifice when you love your country. You will do that for your family because you love them, so you will sacrifice. Mamaya, pupunta na ako sa Bacolod kasi nakaburon yung nanay ko. No, she raised me at great sacrifice. I think if I have to say, what was the greatest thing, the greatest legacy that I got from my mother, is sacrifice is at the heart of love. Kung mahal mo yung pamilya mo, magsasakripisyo ka. Kung mahal mo ang bayan mo, magsasakripisyo ka. Kung mahal mo mahihirap, then they deserve your time, your talent, your treasure. When my daughter graduated from UP, I was not there for her graduation. When my third daughter graduated from LaSalle, I was not there for her graduation. Because I was with the poor who did not even have a chance to go to school. My children have all the best opportunities. Kahapon, I celebrated my 34th wedding anniversary at the Enchanted Farm with my wife. And just like my mom, God gave me also a woman whose greatest quality was her ability to sacrifice her own wants to support the work of nation building. So every morning when I left to go to Bagong Silang, she was not yet awake. Tapos pupunta ako ngayon sa Enchanted Farm because we now went from helping squatters, we're now helping farmers. No, kasi ngayon ang what is lifting our country are the overseas workers, the migrant workers, and the BPO workers. Pero for us to end poverty, we need to create new wealth from farmers and blue-collar workers. Ngayon, tingnan nyo sa human nature yung mga tao. Dating mga scavengers sa Payatas, nagtatrabaho, we have 70 of them working with us now. The minimum wage is $4.25, they're earning $7.50. Yung driver doon, tumatanggap ng 25,000 pesos a month. Dati siyang scavenger sa Payatas. Mas mataas pa sa sweldo ng bagong graduate sa Ateneo. Bakit hindi, why can't we think, that the poor deserve also, the best compensation? So there is no firing policy in human nature. Kaya pag bumili kayo ng produkto ng human nature, we buy products from farmers at 30% higher than market prices. And we have a no-firing policy para sa mga mahirap. Only the graduates of Ateneo, LaSalle, and UP can be fired because they should know better. Now, this is the thing. Let's not overpay our top executives to underpay our workers. No, so this is the thing. Sabi nga ng anak ko, kasi my son-in-law, at the age of 25, built the biggest company for computer games. He made Counter-Strike and Mortal Kombat popular. He owned Gameplay. And so he became so guilty about making young people all over the world, addicted to video games. He decided to sell the business and give away his money. And that's how he came to the Philippines. He went around the world looking for charities he could support. He traveled to about 50 countries. And he found Gawad Kalinga, and he saw you. I saw the most amazing people, who would sacrifice the weekends, who would sacrifice their own comfort, who despite their own need, they were already sharing with the poor. I saw the most amazing people. So he decided to sell his brand new BMW and donated the money to build 80 homes in San Jose, Bulacan. He called it the BMW English Village. Then he donated 250 homes in Maguindanao. And then, after a year, nakapitong daan siya. Hindi ko alam, kasi nakita niyo, he fell in love with our country, with Gawad Kalinga, and he fell in love with my daughter. Yung 700 houses pala, advance dowry lang yun sa anak ko. Because he found Filipinas irresistible. And this is something, he discovered the greatest wealth in this country is our people. And also, he discovered the gift of family. So, ito ngayon, two months ago, we were together, and his work in human nature, he started human nature. They won as the social entrepreneur of the world sa World Economic Forum in China. And my daughter, Anna, is going to the Davos, the World Economic Forum, to represent the country. As a young Filipina who is committed to the environment, who is committed to the poor, and he is committed also to helping our country out of poverty. And si Anna was there with me in Davos last January. Ako lang yung matanda na kasama nila. No? So, kasi ako lang ang 62 years old na hindi pa tapos mangarap. It's just the power of a dream. So I'm now attracting people. This is just my dream. Those of you some of you will leave the country, and that's good because you will continue to remit money to our country and help us. and that's fine. But I am also inviting some of you that there is another path. Become a social entrepreneur. Join us at the Enchanted Farm Village University, and I guarantee you I'll make you rich within 7 years. But you have to bring as many poor people with you as possible. So our chocolate Theophilo, with an Atenean also, he already was his chocolate was chosen as the best artisan chocolate kasi yung flavor niya, labuyo, green mango, calamansi. Why do you have to buy those boring imported chocolates? They do not even grow a single cacao tree. Ang tanga natin eh. Kaya pag kailangan, dapat intindihin nyo na pag kumain pa kayo ng imported chocolate, masisirang ipin nyo at mabilaukan kayo. At saka, I'm just trying to say this in jest. But there is no rhyme or reason. Kasi Filipinos have lost their common sense. Why should Switzerland and Belgium, produce the best chocolates? They don't grow a single chocolate tree. Isn't that stupid? Kaya this year, I was invited 7 times to speak in different universities. I was in Oxford and Harvard and Cambridge about 3 weeks ago, and also the French universities, because we got 500 French interns this year, and many from UK are coming to the Philippines because all roads now lead to Asia. And I've told them that while many commercial business will go to China, the Philippines is going to be the center for social entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs who will go for profit with a bigger social conscience. Yung magpapayaman na hindi iwanan yung mahirap. Naangat tayo lahat kung yung pinakamahirap, pangatin natin. At ang talino at galing ng lahat na may eskwelahan dapat gamitin para turuan tayo para tapusin na ang ating katangahan. So anyway, who wants to join us end poverty by 2024? Is that something that you can dream? No? So the first thing you do is volunteer in your Gawad Kalinga community. Secondly, we're putting up the Village University in Katigan, Davao para tulungan ang chocolate at coffee industry. We're setting it up, the Village University in Victorias, Negros Occidental, and Talisay to help the sugarcane industry. Tapos doon sa Angat, Bulacan, we're working with rice farmers and vegetable growers because there's no reason why we cannot make Bulacan the food basket of Manila. So we're working with Hill de los Reyes of DAR because we have 5 million agrarian reform beneficiaries with 4 million hectares of land, and there's no reason why this country should be food poor. So we're going to Bicol also. We are in Libmanan, Bicol. We are in Daet, in Camarines Norte, Libmanan, Camarines Sur. And so we're also going to Isabela, where we're going to set up Gawad Kalinga Village Universities in 25 provinces. And the biggest project we have will be at Hacienda Luisita. To show na hindi dapat nag-away sa bansa natin, dapat wala ng kaliwa, walang kanan, lahat tayo Pilipino. Lahat tayo mahal ang bansa natin. Lahat tayo may pangarap sa bansa natin. And, as I say goodbye to my 19-year-old mother, I'll be 74 by the time 2024 comes around. But it is with certainty that this dream will happen. Hindi ko man ako pinangarap na magiging presidente si Pinoy. Hindi ko pinangarap that last week, our GDP went up 7.1. We're now second in Asia with the highest growth among the Asian countries. Hindi ko man pinangarap na we will have the most stable stock market, that will have the most stable currency. Tapos nung pumunta ako sa London just 3 weeks ago, ang sabi nila that the countries where investment will be going are the VIP countries, Vietnam, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Kasama na pala tayo doon. So bakit pa kayo aalis sa Pilipinas? So magtayo kayo ng negosyo dito sa Dumaguete kasi Negros and Oriental and Occidental, we're bigger than Singapore. With the natural resources we have, with the excellence of Siliman, and with also the creativity and talent of the new generation, Negros alone will be richer than Singapore. No? Kailangan na maniwala kayo. So sino dito marunong mangarap? Pati ang inyong love life, kailangan hanapin nyo ang lalaki na hindi tanga. Girls. Maghanap kayo ng bayani. Kailangan ang passion ninyo is for the country. Love for the country. Kasi kung love lang yan, dahil sa libo, gutom mga abutin nyo. Pasensya na kayo. before this discussion becomes profane, I just want to thank you. No, but thank you for giving hope to me. No, as I bury my mother, I see life in the next generation because I live for the living. And you will give life to this country. You will create wealth in this country that the world has never seen before. Thank you.
I would like to thank Tito Tony for that eye-opening message. So I'd like to, psychology taught us that dreams are unfulfilled realities. Philosophy taught us that dreams have been a convenient image of the possibility of total dissociation between what a subject experiences and how things are in the experience in real world. But Tito Tony has taught me 3 things. First is to listen. We have heard the cries of the poor, but have we listened to their stories? Have we listened well to the cry of their hearts? Have we looked deeper, or have we really understood what those cries of the poor were, or what those tears meant? Second is sacrifice. We may have sacrificed our clothes for Christmas. We may have sacrificed some of our money for church, but is that sacrifice enough? Do you think you have sacrificed enough for this nation's betterment? You say that Rizal has once said that the youth is the hope of the nation. Are we that hope? Are we living as a better nation? Third point that I got from Tito Tony is to dream high. If we dream, let's dream high. If we could dream of diamonds, let's not dream of copper. He dreamed of a better nation. Rizal said that we are the better generation. Let us stand to be the better generation. Let us prove to the world that this generation doesn't live with technology alone. We can change the future because we are the future of the nation. Thank you, Tito Tony, for letting us understand and opening our eyes again of that fact. We may have forgotten that, or we may have overanalyzed things because we think that, yeah, I may have done something for the nation already. I'm participating in this summit, and I have dreamed of the nation's future. But how will we work on that dream? Are we just imagining that dream, or should we engineer that dream? We should always remember that there is no limit in dreaming. And when we dream, let's push through that dream. Let's not just dream, let's do our dreams. Thank you, Tito Tony. I'd like to call on Kuya JV to present the token of appreciation for Tito Tony Meloto. So while they're getting the token, maybe you could formulate questions that you could ask Tito Tony because we're accommodating 2 questions from the audience today.
I just want to comment, ang talino mo, Iha. May boyfriend ka na ba? Okay. Una lang sa mga women dito, demand heroism from your men. Girls, kasi kahit summa cum laude, pag na-inlove, naging suman yung utak eh. Now, gusto ko lang ipakita ninyo sa buong mundo that God did not make a mistake when He made us Filipino. No? Yan lang. Sana kung maisip niyo ng araw-araw, you know, that I am not a mistake of creation. That God gave me the gift and the privilege of being Filipino. And right now, the Philippines will become the center of the universe, together with other Asian nations. So, anong tanong? Lalo na yung mga lalaki, gusto ko magtanong kayo. Kung paano magiging tunay na lalaki para sa bayan. Kasi akala ko noon, i-rehab ko yung mga drug addicts and criminals sa Bagong Silang. Ang kailangan ko pala i-rehab yung mga lalaki sa mga top universities because they have become wimps. And we have to turn them to become heroes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm Mr. Adler Saguloy. I am from the municipality of Silvino, Lopez, Northern. Actually, I am working with the local government unit for at least 10 years. I've been connected with the Department of Education for 8 years, more or less. I've been working for 18 years in the government. Actually, I haven't heard about GK, yung Gawad Kalinga, with my chief executive and mayor. I don't know kung meron sasama. My municipality actually is located in the hinterland of the province, where the poorest among the 24 municipalities in Rizal. So I've been dreaming also that this municipality, mga at least, wala pa kaming daan, naglalakad kami for almost 7 hours from Silvino Lobos to Pagkaman. Namarating namin yung capital town. With me is the SK chairman of Barangay San Antonio. So, tumaga po sa sinabi yung lahat. It is a very impossible dream for me, siguro. We are dreaming also for that, siguro in the context of our town, minsan pag nag-iikot kami, pumunta ng Manila, akala ko wala nang Silvino Lobos lang yung napakahirap, walang daan, walang kuryente hanggang ngayon, walang internet, walang signal. So I hope we can follow you. I hope mag-extend yung jig sa amin. And we lead our students and SK chairman, SK officials to join with the GK. It's very, very challenging.
Yeah, ang mga estudyante, they have the power, they have the idealism, they have the aspiration, but they don't have the money, no the power.
Yes, sir.
No, pero ang Gawad Kalinga ganun din. Pero now we have the influence because we have to sacrifice to build the dream, you know, step by step, stone by stone, block by block. So pwede yan, sabihan ninyo sa Smart and Globe na hindi na kayo gagamit ng Smart and Globe kung hindi yung 20% na kikitain nila, gagamitin din nila sa paggawa ng kalsada papunta sa inyong lugar. No? So, hindi, ano ko kasi dito, that big corporations want to invest in bringing people out of poverty because it will expand the market. It will enhance their buying power. But sometimes we do not know how to sell, you know, development. Kasi nasanay tayo sa hingi. No, sa gobyerno din natin ngayon kasi the way for us to end insurgency is build roads, build communities, build economy. So ganun din yan nangyari ngayon sa we're doing a lot of work in Borongan, in Eastern Samar, no? Kasi dati ang Samar was forgotten kaya ang mga pumunta rito kaya yung mga waray-waray gangs came from Leyte, from Samar, you know. And these are sandali lang, huwag na kayo mag-react. This is the product of neglect. Kaya you were neglected. No, kaya hindi nabigyan ng pagkakataon. Kaya kailangan, ngayon na yung bagyo, lumipat na, wala na sa Samar ngayon, no, dapat yung mga malalaking kumpanya, dapat mag-invest sa Samar. Kasi mayaman ang lupa, matatalino yung tao doon. Ang problema ko lang, hindi nyo alam kung paano gamitin the power of the collective. No, I was working with the ADB. I met with their country head. They have so much money earmarked for the development of poor municipalities. Kaya lang, ito palang mga malalaki palang mga funding institutions, they make it very difficult for poor municipalities to comply, lalo na sa counterparting. So sabi ko, kumita na yung mga advisors at saka yung mga consultants ninyo na malaking pera, tapos yung pera nandyan pa. Kasi hindi naman pala doable yung ginagawa nila. We have been victims for so long. Pero ang problema, ang daming mga consultants sa mga big organizations abroad na funding, may mga Pilipino din. Pero hindi kasi sila pumupunta doon sa Samar. Hindi nila alam yung lugar mo. Palakarin mo ng 7 oras, Diyos ko. Yung mga consultants nasa Forbes Park eh. No, I'm sorry. You know, unless you call a spade, siguro because I have no political ambition and I don't really aspire for funding from any of them dahil yung nagpalaki sa Gawad Kalinga ay pawi sa dugo ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino. Because we didn't have a funding mentality. Ngayon, but because we were able to build the money, kasi normally, Filipinos with their mendicant attitude, they always have a funding mentality. They have good causes, they're always running after money. Sa amin naman, it's possible with our nobility and with our sacrifice, that money can actually change the cause. So, importante na dito na may respeto tayo sa ating sarili because the most important thing that will that to me, the asset of what we're doing is the nobility of the Filipino, the greatness of the Filipino spirit. Meron ba tayo niyan? Oh, why? Let's use it. I think if ever you get anything from this National Youth Summit, no, kailangan the power of the collective. And una, have a big dream for this country. No, have vision, not just ambition. And dream for people who have lost their capacity to dream. And work with one another because there are just the most talented people around, but you need to be connected with one another. At kailangan meron kayong platform. Una, you have to have a purpose. Pangalawa, philosophy. At ang philosophy natin should be to build this country, not ibagsak. No? Ang pangatlo is a path of peace and justice. Pangatlong P yan. Pang-apat, create a big platform like Gawad Kalinga. We created a platform. Kaya when San Miguel wants to give 500 million for the Sendong victims, the first top of mind is Gawad Kalinga. Ngayon, pati ngayon yung Board of Investment na compliance ngayon ng mga developers like Schumart and Kunsunhi, they are now required to pay 20% of the development cost for low-cost housing. Ang top of mind is Gawad Kalinga. So we created a big dream. We built it with integrity. We built it with hard work, with sacrifice, with love for country. And now, like Berjaya, ito, very honest situation ito. Kaya gusto ko lang malaman mo na yung lugar mo are the most attractive places, you know, for the new mga social investments. Itong impact investment kung tawagin. Yung isang Malaysian company wanted to do business in the Philippines. They want also to have goodwill. So they chose the most respected or the most trusted NGO, and they found us. They initially gave 20 million to build in Sendong. Pero nang nakita kami ng kanilang presidente at nakita niya what we were doing, ginawa niyang 100 milyon. No? Tapos nang nag-meet kami, nakita niya pala na I have psoriasis. No? Yung psoriasis, kasi 3 kapatid ko namatay sa cancer, very early. 37 years old, 44, 33. Tapos ito, because nga of the breakdown in immune system sa mga kinakain natin, which is not healthy for us, lalo na sa mga nilalagay natin sa ating mga skin, which is also bad for us, kasi a lot of the things we import are also toxic. No? So sabi niya sa akin, you have psoriasis. When did you get it? I said, in 1988. He said, how old were you? I was 62. Sabi niya, I also have psoriasis kasi hindi ko nakikita, kasi mayaman siya. Sabi ko, when you found out you had psoriasis, kasi it's an incurable disease, sabi ko, what did you do? Sabi niya, he decided to make a lot of money. Anong niya sa akin? How about you? What did you do? I decided to give away my money. You know? So it's the world of different. But because of what he heard, nang bumalik siya on October 6, he decided, sabi niya, my 100 million commitment to help calamity victims in the Philippines, from 100 million, ginawa niya 300 million. So I'm simply saying, you know, that's the power of the dream. And that's the power also of proof, kasi kailangan big platform and proof of concept. Kung may nakikita na silang resulta, kasi baka puro salita lang tayo, puro lang tayo idea, theory, turo tayo ng mga bagay na hindi natin ginagawa. Sinabi ko nga kay Chay kanina, yung naninira sa Gawad Kalinga, hindi ko pinapansin kasi wala pa naman silang nagawa eh. No? So madaling manira. Kaya nga hindi pwede tayong puro ibagsak, kailangan itayo. So kailangan ang target natin, you come to us, we'll find out kung sino maloko namin para tumulong sa lugar mo.
Thank you, sir. And we hope that we have it work for this project.
Thank you for the question, and thank you again, Tito Tori. Let's just give him another round of applause, please.